Welcome to Leader Lifestyle Hub. As we have set the target of completing 200 book summaries in the entire year, we are here on the book number 93. And the name of the book that we have today is Finite and Infinite Games. Without any delay, let's get started on our journey. So here is the book summary. Finite and Infinite Games, a vision of life as play and possibility. This is a tagline written by James Cars. So let us repeat the title: Finite and Infinite Games, a vision of life as play and possibility by James Cars. So the targeted audience of this book is the 25-year professional, young professional who is left school or college, but still feels like adulthood is kind of just a joke. Means who doesn't take the life as a serious note. The 50-year parent in the midlife crisis who had like a fresh way of looking at things. And anyone who has a persistent sense that life is a surreal. For this type of category people, this book will be a helpful guide. Let us see the small synopsis. Finite and infinite games offer the theory that we play many different games in life. It explains that in the life, we play different games in life, showing you that work and relationships are long-time endeavors. I recommend you to take the digital notes. Out of that, write down this powerful point. Work and relationships are long-term endeavors and how to play them in order to win. So this is the most important lesson that we can take from this book. Work and relationships are long-term endeavors and how to play them in order to win. Finite and Infinite Games, a vision of life as a play and possibility, invites us as readers to leave their assumptions about the seriousness of the life behind. According to the religious historian James Cars, games aren't just things like sports and children's schoolyard activities, like we used to have PT time, playing time, or some extra time for sports and activities in the childhood. It is not like that games. Instead, works, career, relationships, and politics already have game-like qualities. So the author, James Cars, observed life as a list of games. Let us listen from the author, James Cars himself. Finite, here is the James Cars information. James Cars was an American academic who was professor emeritus of history and literature of religion at New York University. His book, Finite and Infinite Games, was widely influential. So recently he passed away in the 2020. He's saying that finite players play within boundaries, whereas infinite players play with boundaries. I recommend you to take this one as a note. Finite players play within boundaries. Infinite players play with boundaries. By focusing on its game-like aspects, like a life as a game-like aspects, we can improve our understanding of how everything really works and learn to become better players in the game of life. I was not really sure what to expect from this book, Finite and Infinite Games, since its premise of two basic kinds of games seems so simple, so obvious and true. However, James Cars delivers a fascinating, winding, yet concise exploration of what it means to be a player in the both type of games. like finite games and infinite games. This is the main essence of the book. Cars theory can also help us to refresh our childlike sense that life is a, suppose, imagine life is a big black canvas and we can make of it whatever we choose. The canvas can be bent, the canvas can be straightened, that canvas can be do anything. In the same way, life is like a big black canvas. We can make it of we can make of it whatever we choose. If something in your life is stressing you out and bogging you down, try abstracting a bit and reinterpret it as a game instead. So whenever you face a challenge in your life, try to abstract it and reinterpret it as a game. Let us listen the top 3 lessons from the author James Cars. Here are the top 3 lessons I have learned. Finite games are played for the sake of ending game, whereas infinite games are played simply for the sake of playing. Let me repeat the powerful statement. I recommend you to take notes. Finite games are played for the sake of ending it, whereas infinite games are played simply for the sake of playing. Second important lesson that we can learn from this book is no one can force you to play a game, and winning is not everything. This is another powerful lesson which made me connect to this book. Winning is not everything. No one can force you to play a game, and winning is not everything. And the most important powerful lesson is everything in life, whether your life is in full of pleasures or whether your life is in full of pains, everything in life can be viewed as a game and should be viewed as a game. Let us set aside our preconceptions about games and reconsider the very nature of human existence. Let us get started with lesson number 1 in detail. Lesson number 1. Games with boundaries must end, but some playful activities can go on forever. Games with boundaries must end, but some playful activities can go forever. As suggested by the book's title, James Cars believes that games can come in 2 fundamental types. One is finite games and second one is infinite games. Finite games are those where it's clear who the players are and who the audience is. And it also takes place at clear places, spaces, and times under set rules. The purpose of the game is to finish the game and agree upon a winner. Sports are clear examples of finite games, like a cricket, badminton, hockey, football, whatever it is. They create a winner as a final end goal, and they create the space, time, set some rules, who the players are. Like in the cricket, there will be 11, and who will be the audience is, who will be watching the game. All these things will be described in the finite game. So if you take any sport, that can be considered as a finite games, whereas infinite games is the other side of the coin, which is less obvious and more complex. They have ever-changing sets of players and even rules. The goal of an infinite game is to keep on playing forever, rather than to stop by declaring a winner. It is like never-ending running race. Players in an infinite game are just trying to keep the authentic interactions rolling on. You might think of your job as a finite game. Whatever your profession is, whatever your work is like a finite game. A job is about proving yourself to your boss and win titles and money. You might be asking what is job meant for. I'm repeating the statement again here. A job is all about proving yourself to your boss and win titles and money. Your career is more like an infinite game. So your career is an infinite game, whereas your job is a finite game. You can do anything within this game because it doesn't have fixed rules. At the end of your career, you don't win or lose, and your body of work can even live on in time after your death. So suppose we have seen lots of scientists, lots of authors, their work still live on the current generation. So career is an infinite game where you can treat your job as a finite game. And both kinds of games are paradoxical according to James Cars. Finite games are played to be ended. After all, if a sports match doesn't end with a winner, it usually means something has gone wrong. On the other hand, infinite games are paradoxical because the players want the game to be continued even by others. Let us move on to lesson number 1. In the lesson number 1 is clear all about games with boundaries must end, but some playful activities can go on forever. Simple example, a job is a finite game and a career is an infinite game. So let us move on to lesson number 2. If you don't care about winning in front of the audience, then you have no reason to play the game. Games doesn't just happen in a vacuum. They have audiences who note that what takes place and whose memories can record information about winners and losers. Participants in a finite game are competing to prove that they are not losers and to earn a more positive assessment of others. Titles in finite games like sports champions or a World Cup champion or a title winner, a Olympics title winner, look to the past for information about who therefore holds power now. Means who are the top performer of the game. So that is the only end goal of the finite games. Remember though that forced play is not no play at all. Players in a game may feel like they cannot quit. However, even as a children, we learned that if your playmate, means the person who play along with you, packs up her toys to go home, the game is lost. You can try to convince someone to play a game, but you cannot force them to play. If you feel like you cannot quit a game, it's just because you have convinced yourself of that. Let me repeat this statement. You can try to convince someone to play a game, but you cannot force them to play. If you feel like you cannot quit a game, it's just because you have convinced yourself of playing it. What's the implication here from these statements? If you are playing a game that you don't care about winning or losing, or whose rules you don't like, you can stop at any time. There are lots of interesting examples of people quitting finite games in life. Minimalists who live their life with the minimum things quit the possessions accumulation game. Nomadic freelancers quit the conventional career game. Singles who are completely out of marriage, living in communes, have decided not to play the nuclear family game. So these are the 3-4 examples here. Minimalists quit the possessions accumulation game. Nomadic freelancers quit the conventional career game. And singles living in communes have decided not to play the nuclear family game. Are you playing any games you should consider quitting? Just think of yourself. Are you playing any games you should consider quitting? So every game, quit something and set something. So if you don't care about winning, then you have no reason to play the game. So you need to care about the winning as well as you need to care about the quitting. What you want win, what you quit. These are the both things required for playing a game of your life. Let us move on to lesson number 3. Games are all around us and we should start playing them. Games are all around us and we should start playing them. Is this all sounding a little abstract? Well, it is supposed to do, but only because the Car's theory of finite and infinite games ends up applying in one way to just about everything. He draws on an example as diverse as society, government, wars, global war, money, leisure, the family, and the human sexuality. Let me repeat it. Games are all around us. It is supposed to. We should start playing them. But only because Carr's theory of these games ends up applying in one way of just about everything. Few examples are society, government, war, money, leisure, family, human sexuality. Even the act of speaking can be finite or infinite. According to Carr's, finite speakers report on the things that were already the case, while the infinite speakers use words so they can be taken up by their audience and co-players and thereby changed in meaning after the fact. So finite speakers simply talk about the report, whereas the infinite speakers use the more impactful words and impact the others. This makes storytelling the ultimate infinite game. You might heard about storytelling. There are lots of story speakers and who go on and speak towards lots of people in the YouTube about the lots of moral stories. Anyone can speak, anyone can hear, anyone can take a narrative and make it her own ways in some way. You cannot stop your story. It has an infinite life of its own. You need to treat the storytelling as the ultimate infinite game. Why? Because you cannot stop your story. It has an infinite life of its own. James Cars even suggests that maybe there is only one infinite game, with every human participating in various ways over time. Players enter, experiment with the things, and they change the game in various ways and exit. If you treat life as a game, like a cricket game, players enter the ground, experiment with the things like batting, bowling, or all the other rules, change the game in various ways, like twists of possibilities and predictions, and they exit after the end of the game. Same way in the life also, we enter, we experiment with the things, change the game in various ways and exit. This big perpetual infinite game contains all little finite games, but no finite game like politics, job, or money, or other any finite sports can contain an infinite game. So we are all playing a finite game in the entire life of infinite game. So remember these three things: players enter, experiment, change, and exit. So players enter, experiment, change the game in various ways, and exit. So this is all about the vision of life, a vision of life as play and possibility. So whether you are in your life is in full of pleasures, or whether your life is in full of challenges, you need to treat life as a play and possibility. So whether the life is going in sake of play or whether life is going for the sake of ending it, try to find it out by yourself and no one can force you. So remember, one more important thing is winning is not everything. Life is not supposed for only winning. Everything in life should be treated as a game, and you need to move on into the next stage of life. So this is all about the book summary today, Finite and Infinite Games, a vision of life as play and possibility, written by James Cars. See you in another book summary tomorrow. Until then,